Hola amigos, tudo bem? How are ya? How we doing? Trying to learn a little bit of Portuguese because I spent some time in Brazil back in February. That was a ton of fun. Man, those guys know how to party. But man, did they just love teaching me the language, but not just the language. It was all about how to swear properly and how to be very, very vulgar in some cases. It was real fun. Most of them knew how to speak English, so they knew how to swear in my language, so I couldn't show them the standard English swears. So we had to come up with something new. I tried to teach them about badusi and all the things that can branch off of badusi. That was really fun trying to hear them say that and comprehend exactly what it meant.
What the hell is even that?
Anyways, hello, my name's Anthony. Some people call me Twan. I'm a multi-instrumentalist, recording artist, mixing engineer, videographer, all that kinds of stuff. And I'm here to look at some songs, either that the YouTube comments section suggests or that I want to look at. In this particular case, this is something that YouTube has recommended. We're gonna get into this one. We're kicking it off with a relatively new Marko Hietala song called Left on Mars, featuring Tarja from, ex Nightwish, although I'm sure everybody knows that. So Nightwish and I have a storied past. We found them right as the pandemic hit. And so I'm still just trying to learn, about them, and it's been a very slow process. And now, we've got all their different singers and bass players going off and going solo, and so there's just all this crap to catch up on and learn about. And so we're gonna learn about all of that, starting with this one. I got my trusty piano, bass, and guitar over here so we can break some stuff down at the end and get real technical. So if you want to get real technical, we're gonna get real nerdy. I'm very excited, so let's get this going. Marko Hietala. As expected, the videos are gonna look sick. They're gonna have lots of cool kind of VFX green screen stuff. Oh. That's a 9, by the way.
There was a child climbing a hill on a winter's night. Face up to space
Nice.
above and taken by the side.
Really cool bass tone.
Time slowed down under the blessing of the skies, of dying stars and their billion years of life.
Nice.
Billion years of life.
I flew across the void of space in a waking dream. Astride a fierce
Nice.
flame, I'm finally redeemed. To find the wonders that transcend the bounds of time.
That's a cool shot. I bet fans have been waiting years for that.
Do you know my heart still holds the rage?
Ah, cool.
I've turned page after page. I never chose to be an alien.
That's pretty sweet.
I'm just looking for a home.
I'm just looking for a home.
I'm just looking for a home. I know I'm better left on Mars.
Wow, this song is creative. It's moving all over the place.
I see the star that gave us life in the rusted sky.
I could get down on this, man.
Turn crimson as I take your hand in mine.
I always thought this place was safe, and I was wrong.
You chose to cross the void for me. I was made strong. Do you know?
There it is.
My heart still holds the rage. Oh, and I've turned page after page. I never chose to be an alien. No, I'm just looking for a home. I know I'm better left on Mars.
That's interesting. He's using an old, like, is it a Gretsch or something? I can't see it. It's an older timey guitar. It's not something you'd see in like metal. Cool. That's a really cool riff.
Do you know that my heart still holds the rage? Oh, and
Nice.
I turn page after page. I never chose to be an alien.
We got the choir.
I'm just looking for.
Oh, now it's gone again.
I think you know that my heart still holds the rage. Oh.
Oh, that's cool.
Still believe in me, and I choose the mercy of your heart. I'm just looking for a heart. Just looking for a heart. And together we'll find hope.
Nice.
Alone together, left on
Wow. This is crazy. That is super cool. And of course, we have strings. Can't not have orchestra. That was crazy. All right, okay. So I gotta break this down before I forget it, because that was crazy. So that like kind of intro riff that was, first off, it was a 9/4. So if you didn't catch that, it was like this. So here's the pulse. It was like this. And it had like an extra rhythm. And it had an extra beat in there before it came down. It was, yeah, I love 9/4 and 7/4. Those rhythms are so much fun. So that was really cool. So that riff, I figured it out. We're in C minor. This is the key of the song. So it's doing like this cool thing where the guitars are doing, they have like the roots, and then they're doing this walk down they're going to the 5th. Kind of like this. And so they're walking it down from the 5 to the flat 5, making that tritone sound, and then down to the major third, actually, not the minor third. So normally in C minor, you'd have C, E flat, and G. But here, where he's actually giving us the natural E, which gives us the happy, you know? But he's walking it down almost chromatically, but not quite chromatically, because he missed F. He missed the 4th. So he's going like this. And then it goes to minor. Like that, or something like that. Really fun. I love things that do that. And then I did catch it, kind of went down a little further. And I played this A. And again, in C minor, you're supposed to have an A flat. So look. But he gave us an A natural, which gives us a Dorian feel. Which is nice. It's a little, just slightly happier than minor. So really fun, really interesting, like, kind of strange looking scale. I love that. That was super creative, super interesting. The other thing I gotta touch on is the voices of both of the singers. Okay, obviously Marko still in top form, and of course, you know, beard game on point makes me jealous. So his voice sounds great. He's got nice compression through his mixed voice, which is always a good time. For anybody who does not know, mixed voice is like Marko is very, very, very good at it. A lot of what he does is kind of placed in this like mask pharyngeal area, and it's like that ah kind of sound instead of the ah kind of more forward. His is kind of more back and up, placed in this area. Very, very consistent, and that kind of vocal placement is very good because it kind of lets you have lots of flexibility as far as trying to go up and flipping up into your head voice, or going down into your chest voice, but keeping things resonant and not necessarily letting it fall back and sounding thin and weak. So great placement. Marko is the king at it. He's done it as long as I have seen Nightwish videos and his, stuff going back even to the old tarot stuff. He sounded exactly the same. So that's pretty sweet. That means he's doing it right when he doesn't lose it after however many decades, which is pretty sweet. Now this is interesting, and this is going to speak a little bit to my ignorance as far as Tarja Turunen's career, because I'll be honest, I'm not 100% super familiar with that. Obviously, I know she was in Nightwish near the beginning, and then departed and did some other things, and she's got I'm assuming a couple solo albums or something like that. I'm not really sure. That's the point. So I'm not entirely familiar with her progression, as far as her vocal sounds. All I can compare it with is some of the older stuff. And here, her voice was much less operatic. Not to say it was weaker, it was just less, maybe theatrical sounding and more mainstream sounding, if that makes sense. I don't even really know how to describe it. It's like what my old vocal teacher used to tell me is when you're trying to sing opera, make fun of opera and then you have sung opera. So it's like the lo, and there's your that's what it sounds like, versus how you would maybe normally sing a note, which is like this ah, like that. That's the comparison that I can give you, is she sounds more like the latter voice that I did than the former voice that I did. Now, there was a time when she went up a little higher and then she went up into that really forward operatic placement, and you could hear that. And I think I made a little note. It was I recognize that kind of tone. So it was interesting hearing a different side of this vocalist, and I'm assuming that was probably done on purpose, mostly because Marko's voice is placed in such a different position that the two of them kind of going back and forth might sound not off or weird, but it might not gel together as good as it could. Now, as I'm saying this, I'm remembering that I have seen Phantom of the Opera that they did when the two of them sang back and forth, and I'm pretty sure it gelled real nicely. So it's possible I'm quite full of shit, yeah. But that's just something that I observed on one single listen through. Now, like I said at the beginning, as I expected, the video was dope as hail. There was, of course, tons of cool green screen and VFX and cool stuff going on, because that's what this genre does, and you would expect nothing less than that. Always a good time. And they were on Mars, and they were running around through Mars, and they were breathing air on Mars, which was kind of cool. They had that shot where both of them had their heads together and they were singing. I bet all of you long time fans just creamed when that happened, because I'm assuming this is kind of a reunion long in the making, unless I missed it and something happened before, which is possible. But even so, there are going to be fans like me that missed that, and now we're just oh my god, oh, I just clipped the shit out of that mic. So yeah, really fun. The guitar that I had pointed out, it looks like a Gretsch kind of old-timey style. And it's interesting because you don't normally see that kind of thing in metal, unless it's, metal for sure. You might see it in rock, and definitely kind of that classic rock kind of vibe. It's really got kind of the 70s, Dire Straits, Creedence Clearwater kind of deal. But they did experiments and said you can do metal with Fenders and single coil guitars and things like that. And if you don't know what that is, so this guitar right here, you see here on the black, this kind of black section, these are the pickups, and it's got two little kind of cylinders. There's one here, and then there's one here, right? So that's a pickup. That's called a double coil or a humbucker pickup, and that's traditionally what sounds really good for hard rock, heavy metal stuff. because when you distort an electric guitar signal that comes out of a humbucker, it distorts a lot nicer and like heavier and beefier and, you know, all that kind of stuff. And when you distort something like a single coil Fender, which just has the single like rounded thing instead of the two, it gets a more kind of twangy, like throaty, mid-rangey kind of tone, which sounds really cool for a lot of musical styles, but like metal and the chug-a-lug-a-lug kind of stuff, they don't really go for that quite a bit. It was just interesting to see kind of an older timey guitar that isn't traditionally used in kind of a metal and hard rock setting. It sounded awesome. The mix was really nice. You know, everything just kind of sat in its place and did what it did and gave the singers their space, and you know, when the piano player was doing cool stuff or when bass or guitar was doing cool stuff, they were at the top and nothing was buried deep down. The piano player had some really cool sounds going on too. He had a cool, like, I wouldn't call it a bell tone, but it was like some kind of a synthesizer kind of high, airy bells kind of sound that he was doing up here, and I'm pretty sure I like made a finger face thing when I heard it, because I love those kind of sounds. You can do all kinds of cool stuff. You can just have really cool counter melodies and you don't even have to really do much. You can just kind of do this like you can just kind of do stuff like behind really anything, as long as it's diatonic, as long as it's in the same key, and it'll sound really cool and it won't really clash with anything. Always a fun kind of musical texture. Okay, I think I said my piece. Always cool to see some Nightwish alums come together and do some cool stuff, and it's even better when that cool stuff is actually really cool. Sweet. Thanks everybody for tuning in. Appreciate you sticking around through the rambling. I hope it makes sense. Maybe you're learning something or two. I don't know. If you feel so inclined, subscribe below, because I'm trying to do a ton of these. And plus I do my own one-man band covers. Got a bunch of cool songs coming out. Like I covered a Battle Beast song getting ready to release, and a Unleash the Archer song getting ready to be released, and some Glory Hammer and stuff. And I play all the instruments. Yeah, if you want to see me put my money where my mouth is and be like, who is this dumbass that thinks he can critique this stuff? Well, hopefully I get to show you. Anyways, so yeah, hit the subscribe button below and get out.